What's up, guys? Welcome to my 2015 Road Glide Special review. Now, I'm releasing this video a little bit late. The 2016 Road Glide just came out, but all the information you're going to hear in this video pertains to the 16 as well. There were really very few changes from 2015 to 2016, and rightfully so. Harley-Davidson completely redesigned the fairing on the Road Glide in 2015, so let me take you through the bike a little bit. Again, this is the special version. There are two versions, the standard and the special. As I've said in other videos before, the special has the big 6.5-inch infotainment system as opposed to the 4.3. The special also comes with ABS and security stock, and it has the premium ride suspension with the coilover shock in the rear. I will say this bike handles really well. In 2014, Harley-Davidson came out with Project Rushmore. They delayed bringing this bike out in 2014. In my opinion, I'm just speculating here, they staggered their new product. They came out with the Street Glide and the Electric Glide and the Limited with the twin-cooled motor. So in 2015, they came out with the brand new fairing for the Road Glide, which I will say is awesome. I would review it very high. They've done a lot of wind tunnel testing with this fairing with the vent system, and it definitely works. You definitely have a lot less of that violent, uneven head buffeting hitting you as you're going down the freeway. You can see here I'm cutting traffic. It's pretty heavy traffic. This video is filmed in California, so don't freak out, guys. Lane splitting is legal in California. It's the only state in the United States that allows it. So I will say for a long time the Road Glide has been the tall man's bagger bike. In 2015 they brought the handlebars back 5 inches, which is a lot. Here you can see me messing with the vents. There's 3 vents on this bike, unlike the Batwing Fairing, which only has 1 vent on the top. This has 1 vent on the top and 2 on the sides. You can see me opening it there. When the vents are open, it really reduces, like I said, the uneven winds and the violent wind that you get at high speeds. Here I'm probably doing about 75-80 miles an hour, and the best way I can describe it is it feels like you're doing 15 miles an hour to 20 miles an hour slower than you really are doing. The radio, I'll say, guys, is a million times better than the 2013 and older Road Glides that had the CD player in there. This radio, you've got Bluetooth in the right compartment there in the fairing. You've got a USB port where you can plug in your iPod, iPhone, whatever, and it's linked directly to the infotainment system where you can play your music. The radio's also got a bunch of voice command functions. You can voice command the navigation, you can voice command the radio, and you can voice command your phone. If you want to take phone calls on this bike, it does have that capability. You have to buy a plug that puts the port there. On the Electric Glide Ultra Classic and the Limited, the port already comes on the center console, but you have to buy that cord that gives you a port to plug in your headset. Really, there's too much to talk about on the radio in just one video. It probably needs its own video on its own. I will say, if you're going to use the phone on the radio and use the communication on the radio, just buy the Harley headset. Yes, you have to have the cord plugged in. You can't do it wirelessly. That's one of the most common questions I get with this new infotainment system. You gotta buy the Harley one. Yes, you have to have a cord plugged in. You can't use your little special Bluetooth headset that's wireless on your helmet. It's just not going to work. Other things they did on the Road Glide, as part of the Project Rushmore, they beefed up the front end to a 49mm front end, and they beefed up the steering head bearing in this bike. That really helps the bike both absorb shock better in the front and also handle and ride smoother, especially when you put it into a turn at high speeds like on the freeway. So that's been a huge upgrade. They came out with a high output 103 for this bike. Basically same displacement, 103 cubic inches, but what they did was they tweaked the airbox to more of a high performance airbox, and they changed the cam. So what Harley did with that was they squeezed out about 10% more power out of this sucker, and you really feel it from about 60 to 80 miles an hour, so you have more highway passing power with the high output 103. As a side note, they just released that high output 103 on a lot of the other families in the Harley lineup for 2016s, like the Softails and the Dynas, with the exception of the Street Bob. They all have the high output 103 now. So the Road Glide handles way better than before. I will say that the Project Rushmore that came out in 2014 that was applied to this bike in 15 is the single biggest collection of changes ever applied to one family of motorcycle in the history of Harley-Davidson. So just a piece of advice, guys, if you're looking for a Road Glide and you're trying to decide between a 13 and a 15 or later, you better be getting a really big discount on the 13 for it to even be close to worth getting it over a 14. The bike tracks really good. You can see me here on the freeway. I got the cruise control going, probably doing about 70-75 miles an hour. The bike tracks very well. I would like to dispel a myth though. One of the questions I get asked almost daily is people come in and say, yeah, I want the Road Glide because it cuts through the wind better at high speeds than the Batwing Fairing. Guys, that couldn't be further from the truth. Do not buy a Road Glide just because you think it cuts the wind better. If I were to quantify it, I would say maybe tracks 5% better in the wind, but really, guys, you got to have such a high wind. You got to be going so fast. Both the Batwing and the Road Glide Fairings both do really well at high speeds. What I usually tell people to use as their determining factor as to whether they buy a Street Glide or a Road Glide is I say, you know what, sit on both of them, find out which one fits you the best, decide which one you like the look of, even though that may sound shallow. Definitely ride both bikes if you have that opportunity, but on a Road Glide you got the fairing that's attached to the frame, so it always stays pointed straight. The Batwing Fairing is mounted on the front forks, so the fairing moves with the forks. If you guys have any additional questions I didn't cover in the video, please comment below. I reply to all comments.